a young woman meeting the love of her life on a Broadway stage in 1959, only for both of them to marry other people, and then more than 40 years later, finding their way back to each other after tragedy touched them both. That woman was Suzanne Pleshette, and her real story carries far more heart and struggle than most people ever realized. By the end of this, you will understand why her life was so much more than just one famous television role. Suzanne Pleshette was born on January 31st, 1937 in New York City, to a father who worked as a television network executive managing famous theaters during the big band era, and a mother who had once worked as a professional dancer under a stage name. Growing up surrounded by entertainment naturally pulled Suzanne toward acting, and she trained at the neighborhood playhouse school of the theater before beginning her career on the stage. Her early acting days included replacing a very famous actress in a major Broadway drama about Helen Keller, a role that showed just how much talent she carried even before television made her a household name. In 1958, she launched her film career, and by the early 1960s, she had become a favorite among teenage audiences thanks to roles in romantic films that showcased her striking looks and her deep, distinctive voice. It was also during a 1959 Broadway comedy called The Golden Fleecing that Suzanne first met a fellow actor named Tom Poston. The two even briefly dated, but life pulled them in different directions, and they both ended up marrying other people instead. Suzanne's personal life carried its own share of both excitement and heartbreak. Her first marriage was to fellow actor Troy Donahue, her co-star in 2 films, and the two wed in January of 1964. However, the marriage did not last, ending in divorce just 8 months later that same year. A few years after that, in 1968, she married a Texas oil businessman named Tommy Gallagher. This marriage proved to be much more lasting, staying together for over 3 decades. During this marriage, Suzanne experienced a miscarriage and the couple never had children, but they remained devoted to each other until Gallagher passed away in the year 2000 after battle with lung cancer. Meanwhile, Suzanne's acting career continued to flourish. She landed one of her most memorable film roles in Alfred Hitchcock's classic thriller The Birds, and she became widely beloved for her television role as Emily, the sharp-witted wife of a Chicago psychiatrist on the Bob Newhart show. The chemistry and humor she brought to that role made her instantly recognizable to millions of viewers, and the show became one of the most successful sitcoms of its time. She would go on to receive multiple nominations for major television and film awards throughout her career, cementing her reputation as one of the most respected actresses of her generation. After becoming a widow following Gallagher's death, something remarkable happened. Suzanne reconnected with Tom Poston, the very man she had once shared a brief romance with decades earlier, back when they first met on that Broadway stage. By this point, Poston had also become a widower himself. Rekindling their old connection after so many years apart, the two finally decided to get married in May of 2001, more than 40 years after they had first met. Speaking about their relationship after his passing, Suzanne once said that he was such a wonderful man, someone who had fun every single day of his life. Their reunion, coming so many decades after their first meeting, became one of the more touching parts of her personal story. Unfortunately, difficult health challenges were waiting ahead for both of them. In the summer of 2006, Suzanne was diagnosed with lung cancer and underwent chemotherapy treatment. She managed to rally through the toughest parts of her treatment, but by late 2007, she barely survived a serious case of pneumonia, a sign that her body was growing weaker. Tragedy struck first for her husband, as Tom Poston passed away from respiratory failure in April of 2007. Suzanne herself passed away less than 1 year later, on January 19, 2008, just days before what would have been her 71st birthday, also due to respiratory failure, the very same cause that had taken her husband. Those who knew Suzanne remembered her as a warm, down-to-earth person who loved to talk and often shared funny stories with the people around her, someone who brought genuine energy into every room she entered. Following her passing, She was laid to rest at a cemetery in Los Angeles, resting between her two beloved husbands, Tommy Gallagher and Tom Poston, a quiet symbol of the love she carried throughout her life. Suzanne Plechette's story is a reminder that even amid fame and success, love does not always follow a straight path. Sometimes it takes decades, loss, and life's unexpected turns to finally bring two people back together. And even then, life can still be far too short.